Today we are checking out the latest retro gaming handheld from Anbernic, the RG503. We unbox it, check out the features, then try a bunch of games with emulators to see how well it performs. Let's start with the unboxing. First up, we have the RG503 retro handheld, which we will take a close look at shortly. Underneath the packaging is a user guide, which is in full English and Chinese. It covers everything from booting up, navigating the menus, online multiplayer, and correctly shutting down the handheld. Next, there is a USB Type-C cable. We recommend using this one to charge the RG503. There is a 64GB micro SD card, which is used for your game storage. And last but not least, there are some wipes and a screen protector that you can use to fit onto the RG503 if you wish to. The RG503 is available in three colours: black, blue and bronze grey. It measures around 7.4 by 3.3 by 0.8 inches and weighs 235 grams. The display is a 4.95 inch OLED with a 960 by 544 resolution. On the front we have the usual dual analog sticks which are clickable. There is a D-pad and 4 gaming buttons along with select and start buttons. On the left is a power button, and on the right is the volume rocker. On the top you can find the left and right shoulder and trigger buttons. There are two USB Type-C ports. The one on the right is where you charge the handheld. There is a 3.5mm headphone jack and a mini HDMI port which you can use to connect to your TV or monitor for larger screen gaming. On the bottom you can find two micro SD card slots. The left is for the operating system and the right one is for storage. There is a device reset button and a useful function button which is used in combination with other buttons. For example, to access the Retro Arch menu, exit emulators, load and save states and so on. The RG503 features the Cortex A55 processor with a max frequency of 1.8 GHz. It has 1 GB of LPDDR4 RAM, which is plenty for the operating system and emulators. It has 16 GB storage for the operating system, and for the second card it supports up to 512 GB micro SD cards. It has 5 GHz Wi-Fi for wireless data transfer, and there is Bluetooth 4.2 if you want to connect any peripherals such as a mouse or keyboard. There's a 3500 mAh battery which lasts for up to 6 hours depending on which emulator you are using. The front end is the familiar emulation style front end seen on many handhelds and is very easy to use. Pressing up and down will browse through the various gaming systems and emulators. These include Arcade, MAME, WonderSwan, Capcom Play System 1, 2 and 3, MSX, PC Engine, Open Bore, Master System, Mega Drive, Game Gear, Dreamcast, Neo Geo, Neo Geo Pocket, PlayStation and PlayStation Portable. Choosing a gaming system will bring you to the game browser where you can scroll through the list of games on your SD card. You simply choose one and it will load the game. Pressing start will bring up the main menu where you can change various settings including the controller layout and user interface settings. From here you can set up and connect to your Wi-Fi access point for game data scraping and also for online multiplayer on supported emulators. You can also safely shut down the handheld from this menu, which we recommend doing, otherwise you may corrupt the operating system. The RG503 has a mini HDMI port which you can use to connect to your TV or monitor. To enable it, switch off the RG503, connect a HDMI cable to it and power it on. The RG503 screen will stay switched off and the output will be on your TV or monitor. The quality of the video output is 720p and is pretty good. And don't forget, with many of the systems you can use some filtering to smooth out the graphics if you wish to. With compatible systems such as the Mega Drive, you can play online either locally or over the internet with others via a Wi-Fi access point. You must be using the same emulator and exact same ROM file in order to do this. Simply load the RetroArch menu, navigate to the online screen, and you can join or start a new instance. Not every emulator supports this feature, but the ones that do work very well. Let's take a look at some of the supported gaming systems and how well they work. Final Burn Neo supports a variety of arcade systems, with some games not found on MAME for example. We are trying Raiden DX and it works great. As you can see, the game is stretched to widescreen. You can change this in the settings for most emulators to use the 4:3 aspect ratio if you prefer looking like the original. For MAME, we are trying the arcade game Asterix, which works great. I tried a bunch of games and did not have any issues with compatibility or slowdown on games. Capcom System 1 and 2 worked without any issues, so we will go straight to CPS-III and Street Fighter 3. We had no issues with games loading, which were fast, and also no issues with performance. We often overlook the MSX when reviewing handhelds, so let's give it some love with Contra. The game plays just fine. It's actually kind of weird but cool playing it screen by screen instead of side scrolling like on other systems. Up next is the great PC Engine, and as we are trying some different games from usual, let's give Aero Blasters a go. Again, you can play stretched to widescreen or in the original aspect ratio. Everything on the PC Engine works great, so you won't have any issues. Next is another that is often overlooked but one of my favourite consoles, the Sega Master System. There's some great games if you have never checked it out. We are playing the classic WonderBoy that me and my dad used to spend hours playing way back in the 80s. Everything will work great on Master System. Resisting the urge for the usual Sonic the Hedgehog, I am going with the excellent Shadow Dancer, aka Shinobi Part 2. As expected, everything works just fine for the Mega Drive and it looks great on the OLED screen. On the Game Gear, we are checking out Gunstar Heroes. I didn't know there was a version for the Game Gear, and it's not that bad to be fair. Although there are some slowdowns in busy parts of the game. That's probably an issue with the original hardware rather than the emulator's performance. Next, we have the Dreamcast and we are checking out Soul Calibur. It plays just fine, but you will find with other games that you're getting good speeds but issues with audio lagging, or it's simply too slow. It's part and parcel of the chipset used on this model, so don't expect everything to work great. Next we have the classic Neo Geo and we are checking out the side-scrolling shooter Blazing Star. Everything works great on the Neo Geo emulator and you should have no issues whatsoever. Performance and compatibility for the PlayStation is good on the RG503. We are checking out Twisted Metal 2 and the performance seems to be about right. There's no slowdowns. I tried a few random games and they all play fine with no issues. We round up the emulator testing with PlayStation Portable. Performance is, as we know from previous models, not amazing, so we are not expecting much difference. It depends on the game. By default it's set to frame skip 1, which helps a lot with games not quite reaching 60 FPS, such as Tekken 6, which runs at around 50 FPS on average. The RG503 is a decent enough handheld with a crisp display and 5 GHz Wi-Fi. Both are nice to have features. However, the processor used on the RG503 has been seen in previous handhelds, and we do not see any improvements in terms of performance. Something with a bit more power would do wonders for Dreamcast and PlayStation Portable performance. If you are new to retro gaming handhelds and are looking for one, then the RG503 is a great choice for playing all of the classic consoles and PlayStation. Beyond those systems, it's not ideal, and you would be better off looking for something a bit more powerful, such as the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. You can learn more and buy the RG503 from our store at DroiX.co.uk and DroiX.net. We also sell many other handhelds, so if this one did not appeal to you, we definitely have one that will. We hope you have enjoyed the RG503 review. If you did, why not take a moment to subscribe and keep up to date with our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you back in our next one.